Promoter of Night of the Hitmaker says it's a pity that Carnival has to be postponed. President of WIFO sounds the alarm on Caribbean travel. But first up, Carnival 2020 has been postponed until further notice. Those are the headlines for Friday, March the 13th, 2020. This is SXM Daily News. I'm Valerie Van Putten. Now for the details. Prime Minister and Chairperson of the Emergency Operations Center, Sylvia Jacobs, has made the decision to postpone Carnival 2020 after an emergency meeting was held with the EOC and members of Parliament on Thursday, March 12, 2020. The emergency EOC meeting was called due to the announcement by the World Health Organization, WHO, that the COVID-19 is considered a pandemic as of March 11, 2020. The Prime Minister also invited the members of Parliament to be updated and give feedback on the current state of affairs. A meeting was then promptly called with the president of the St. Martin Carnival Development Foundation, the SCDF, Alison Lawrence, and treasurer Michael Granger to inform them of the decision taken. That issue was discussed with the president of SCDF, Alison Lawrence.
We were more than informed. We were actually invited to a meeting, and we definitely appreciate that by the Prime Minister to let us know that this decision, we would be one of the first to know what it would be. We were invited to her office, myself and another board member, and we're with the professionals there of the EOC. We were made aware of how risky this situation is to continue with the carnival festivities or in big gatherings in general, and we agree with them. We agree with this is a major risk. Of course, it comes with a lot of adjustments to be made for everybody right now. And that is why the SCDF, we are meeting as soon as possible to be able to have some information for the rest of the public and for all the carnival goers and the revelers about, how far they are already into Carnival 2020 and what that's going to mean.
And of course, into Carnival 2020, this is all happening at the time that you, as the Carnival Development Foundation, were making your final preparations to kick off this year's festivities.
Yes, definitely. I think a couple of days ago, we finalized everything for the cause. We jump up with the police, or everybody, in fact. So we were actually in the 11th hour of starting the road to Carnival, and let's say getting into the evening of the actual Carnival starting. So it's very unfortunate. However, this is not anyone's fault. This is a worldwide issue, not just a St. Martin Carnival issue. And therefore we stand behind the EOC and the Prime Minister on her decision. And we ask the public to please be as reasonably understanding as possible and just pay attention to the press.
How do you begin to start informing those persons directly involved with Carnival, the booth holders, the independent producers of Carnival, the troop leaders, those persons who had already started to make the necessary preparations for this year's 2020 Carnival activities?
Well, Stephen, one way to answer that how is to take a deep breath first. We have been since then assessing, let's call it the damage in every sector for every stakeholder. And today we will be, today or tomorrow, before the end of the weekend, we will be making a grand statement to everybody directly and to the public as well about what's the next steps.
Any regrets that this had to be postponed?
Of course, major regrets, personally and of the SCDF. We know what everybody puts into Carnival. We know how much people have already put into Carnival. Let's don't forget the promoters as well. Even just in preparations, the government departments we've met with, the police, schools, all the groups of Carnival have already been contacted and getting ready for this year's festivities. So in that respect, of course, we regret definitely having to shut this down on the orders of the Prime Minister. However, I think no one group of anybody in the world right now is not paying attention to what's going on, and we have to adjust for that this time. That's really how it is. I don't think I slept the entire night because I do understand all of the work put in by everybody, not just the SCDF. You know, everybody makes it happen, but we all have to adjust to this, and we would not want a breakout to happen in the middle of that.
Earlier in the week, the Ministry of Tourism, Economic Affairs, Telecommunication and Transportation, TEAT, met with the major wholesalers and suppliers of food on St. Martin. The purpose of that meeting was to discuss supply and demand amidst the challenges faced relating to the COVID-19 threats. Miguel de Weaver is the Secretary General of TEAT. Speaking to the Voice of St. Martin's News Department, he indicated that during the meeting, which was also attended by other departments, including the Ministry of VSA, they were able to discuss several pertinent issues as it pertains to the coronavirus and the island's state of preparedness should there be an outbreak of COVID-19.
I think it's important that we present to the public and inform the public that yes, we did meet with the wholesalers, because naturally we want to make sure that, you know, the supplies and the stock levels are at a level where we don't have any challenges, and we want to encourage and let people know that it is so there is no need to do the panic buying and buy more than is actually necessary. The whole reason we are, let's say, considering and having those discussions is because in the event of people needing to be quarantined or self-isolated in their home for 2 weeks because they may have gotten the virus, that they are able to then have enough food or supplies in their home to be able to survive for 2 weeks. Of course, naturally, in this whole process, one and everyone should make some provisions, even with their families, that if they get sick, that they can still have somebody that can do the shopping for them. So there is no need to panic buy and stock up on a whole bunch of stuff, because once that happens, then of course it will have a problem of stock. If everybody go to the supermarket and one person buys up, you know, all a particular type of items, you know. And then there are alternative types of, you know, that I think the challenges what they have indicated to us are, because it's a global problem, are the hygienic products, so the Lysol and, you know, those sprays and the wipes. But, you know, there are alternative home remedies type of solutions that can be made, which is whether you use water and Clorox, water, you know, rubbing alcohol, you know, Dettol. These are all different types of ways that you can also disinfect the place and not, let's say, have such a need for the Lysol specifically, you know, because it's not the only cure or measure or remedy to combat the coronavirus. And that's, you know, the message we really want the public to know, that to remain calm, just purchase their regular supermarket items and make provision that if they're sick, that somebody else can go shop for them. And then there's no need to be buying a whole bunch of other stuff.
And the postponement of the 2020 Carnival activities was also discussed with promoter and CEO of Extra Tight Entertainment, Berto, Mr. Rude Fleming.
It's always a bittersweet feeling. When I say bittersweet, of course, Extra Tight have been in preparation for Carnival since last year. As a matter of fact, all our deposits and arrangements has been made, so all our financial commitments are already engaged. But on the other hand, you know, safety and health over everything. In order to enjoy your event, you got to be here on earth with us, you know. So based on what's going on all over, you know, you must understand the precautions, because I think that's all what we're doing, taking the best precautions to prevent the outbreak within the country. And yes, St. Martin is a village, so you could imagine how quick and how fast it could go the wrong direction.
Taking into consideration the fact that you were looking forward to having some of the biggest artists around the Caribbean, including the original WCK, the Burning Flames, Copa from Haiti, and of course locally you were supposed to be having the former Rolling Stones. How do they compromise? Has there been any understanding coming from those groups based on the decision to postpone the event?
Well, basically, you know, we got the news also last night. The immediately after, I guess, the decision was taken. The SCDF informed in regards to decisions taken by the Prime Minister. So today, of course, we're going to inform all our stakeholders, including the artists and partners and everyone. Most of the times, contractually, if there's an act of God of circumstances beyond our control, which in this case it is, we normally start a new date to host the concert. In this case, Night of the Hitmakers is part of Carnival, so I guess we would have to hold on and see what would be the next date or the next period given to host the Carnival festivities. As you know, it says postpone and not cancelled. I assume cancel would mean we on to next year, but the word postpone still gives hope that it could happen later down, you know, but I guess the SCDF and government and, of course, the development of the coronavirus will determine this.
And still to come, President of the St. Martin's Lion Club says that the annual Rudi Hoover Health Fair has been postponed. We'll have the details of that story and more when SXM Daily News returns.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
President of the St. Martin's Lions Club, Ms. Aurelie Boyrad, who has also announced the cancellation of their annual Rudi Hoover Health Fair. According to the president, they met with the stakeholders and discussed the scenario, and based on the information shared and their concerns, they decided to postpone it at this time.
We met last evening, as was scheduled, with the stakeholders who are participating in the wellness fair. As you know, we cannot do the fair without the participation of the stakeholders. They are very important to us. And so we met and we discussed the scenario, and based on information shared and concerns from the stakeholders, they really want to participate and have a very good fair this year, but they have their concerns about meeting in a crowd and direct contact with the public and everything. So based on precautions, especially since the virus is now a pandemic, we then made a decision to postpone it for this time, and then later on when the club meets and the membership meets and we discuss, we will then look at when we will, again host the fair. But for now, it's off.
And the fair was supposed to have taken place on the 28th of
March, the last Saturday in this month.
And
but based on all the activities that's happening concerning the virus, and as a precautionary measure, the club and the stakeholders decided to postpone, and we were happy that the stakeholders came out. We had quite a few present, especially the Diabetes Foundation. They were there in great numbers, and then we had other persons there as well, stakeholders present as well. And we do appreciate the discussion. It was a very fruitful discussion. One of the doctors who was supposed to be at the fair shared her concerns, and, we had a good discussion. And out of that, we decided, listen, let's postpone this thing for now, and then later on we'll continue.
So you're not certain as to when exactly this will take place?
Not yet. Well, we have the 21-day information that the Prime Minister shared yesterday. And like I said, it's not my I am the president of the club, but it's not a one-man decision. It's
Yeah.
a decision that comes from all the membership, the board, the committee, everybody comes together. We sit down and discuss, and then we will look, in the near future as to when we will do it. But right now, we don't have a date.
And in these two items from the police blotter, the police patrol and ambulance department were directed to the roundabout on the AJC Browers Road for an accident that had taken place on Thursday morning, March the 12th, 2020, between a vehicle and a scooter. On the scene, the patrol encountered a collision between a white scooter and a gray Chevrolet Colorado. Both vehicles had no number plates. The police patrol later noticed that the passenger of a white scooter had a large open wound and was being treated on the scene by the paramedics. The passenger was later transported to the St. Martin Medical Center for further treatment. The driver of the scooter sustained only minor injuries. The cause of the collision has not yet been determined, and the personnel of the traffic department are still investigating this accident. And in yet another road accident from the police blotter, the police patrol and traffic department were alerted to a serious traffic accident that had taken place close to the Cold Bay police station on the Welfare Road on Wednesday afternoon, March the 11th, about 5:30 p.m. On the scene, the patrol encountered a rider of a black motorbike with the initials JAMR who was involved in the accident. He was complaining of back pain. According to the information received, the driver of the white Nissan had given a chance to exit the Windsor Road by a driver on the Welfare Road. At the same time, the rider of the motorbike was passing a line of cars going towards the Kruithof roundabout. The rider of the motorbike was also driving on the Welfare Road towards the roundabout. The rider was unable to brake in time and crashed into the car coming out of the Windsor Road. He suffered from cuts and bruises and was treated on the scene by the personnel of the ambulance and later transported to the St. Martin Medical Center for further treatment. The wounds of the victim were not life-threatening. And now, turning to our weather forecast for March 13th, 2020. Weak instability and moisture associated with a low-level trough may cause a few isolated showers across the local area. Meanwhile, the Atlantic high-pressure system will maintain a light to moderate wind flow. Seas are expected to peak near 7 feet today. Small craft operators and sea bathers should continue exercising caution on open waters. Now, let's turn to your 3-day forecast. And still to come, SHTA hopes the health effects of COVID-19 can be kept to a minimum. We'll have the details of that story and more when SXM Daily News returns.
Make use of WIB mobile banking with easy access and direct usage of face recognition, PIN code, or fingerprint. Download WIB mobile banking app and make your transaction from anywhere at any time. For more information, visit wib-bank.net/quick-login.
And in other news at this time, President of the Windward Islands Federation of Labor, WIFO, Theophilus Thompson, is sounding the alarm on the effects that COVID-19 may have on the Caribbean. With the recent announcement of the restrictions imposed on travel, Mr. Thompson said it will definitely affect us here on the island.
This year we will mark 50 years since WIFO existed. WIFO has been a very progressive and dynamic organization. For for the past 50 years, with many concerns, and most recently climaxing after Hurricane Irma with the most court cases ever to champion the rights and the cause of workers on St. Martin. In saying that, we are now faced with another concern that has to do with the coronavirus. That is a very important matter to us because as we depend on tourism, and the number of steps are being taken right now, curtailing the travel or restricting travel to certain parts of the world, and definitely that will affect us. We depend a lot on cruise tourism, as well as St. Martin's economy accommodation is mainly timeshare. Very few hotels. So it means that over the years since 1983, when timeshare was introduced on St. Martin and has been good in spite of the different hurricanes in 95 and recently Irma, the first person to come back to the island are those timeshare owners. And with restrictions now imposed because of the coronavirus, we are looking at probably reduction of work week, the possibility of termination of workers. So that's a challenge that we will have to deal with, I would say, within short. It is our intention that a meeting will be convened between the unions and government, especially the department that deal with tourism and economic affairs, to discuss which will add to unemployment, poverty that we have been discussing, and this is very important. And other things that we are looking at is the violation of not only the rights of workers but colonies and territories by the colonizers not complying to international treaties and conventions which they have signed off to.
The St. Martin Hospitality and Trade Association, SHTA, hopes that the health effects caused by COVID-19 can be kept to a minimum for the residents of St. Martin. The association underlines the importance to stay as safe and as healthy as possible, following the advice given by the World Health Organization to minimize risks of the virus. We recommend everyone to be careful and try to limit possible exposure as much as possible and continue to follow the hygiene protocols that have been widely disseminated. SHTA commends government for its ongoing efforts in dealing with the pandemic. As St. Martin has limited resources, preventing a significant outbreak on the island should be priority number one. Even if we manage to avoid all health consequences for our society of COVID-19, the past 24 hours has made it clear that our economy is about to again be severely strained. The volume of stay-over bookings for April and May is down by at least 40% compared to last year and expected by hoteliers to get worse. This may mean that anticipated hotel openings get postponed. The most recent announcement regarding airline travel from Europe by the President of the United States and subsequent announcements of cancellations by major cruise lines will have immediate direct economic effects on the island. It is reported that some major cruise lines have suspended worldwide operations for the next 60 days. More will likely follow. Travel in general is slowing, and restrictions encourage more people to stay at home. The private sector warns that they will not be able to cope with this prolonged downturn after the continued ill effects of Hurricane Irma. Government resources will simultaneously be strained by healthcare and social welfare needs. Somehow, St. Martin will need to find a way forward in order to keep long-term effects to a minimum. And still to come, Prime Minister says that price gouging should be reported to the Department of Economic Affairs. We'll have the details of that story when SXM Daily News returns.
Hello, St. Martin. My name is Jose Helaga and I play basketball. I have organized basketball events in St. Martin. Sport matters to me because it makes everybody come together in unity. So I challenge the businesses community to step up for sports and help us rebuild and repair our facility. I'm also asking the community to nominate local businesses in your area to take on the challenge and step up for sport because sports matter. Check out the Department of Sports SXM Facebook page for more information. #SportMatter, #AreYouIn.
And as we end this edition of SXM Daily News for today, Prime Minister of St. Martin, Sylvia Jacobs, says that if anyone notices that supermarkets and stores are price gouging, which means that they are raising prices on related items, they should report the incident to the Department of Economic Affairs.
The general public also has a role to play in this. If you notice that someone is increasing or a business is increasing prices, you should take a photo and report that to the Department of Economic Licenses, Economic Affairs. So we can find these numbers on our Facebook page, but most definitely you can help us to help you by reporting any incidents where you notice that prices have spiked on key items. From the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sports, I must report that all schools have been notified. The school has also contacted all school bus transportation vendors to ensure that there is an increase in their cleaning protocol, hygiene protocols, and I must confirm that I'm very, very pleased with the response and the feedback received in yesterday's EOC meeting. The Department of Communications, DCOM, has been charged with communication, that is ES8, and they have been ensuring that the communication to the public is optimal. We are on the digital boards, in the newspaper, on the radios with PSAs, and BTP has assured us that the PSAs will continue to be provided to the general public free of charge, and I ask the general public to also look out for that information. I know that DCOM will, during this broadcast, ensure that the place and where we can find information is projected during this broadcast, but all of us who are internet savvy and on our phones all day, you should go to government's Facebook page intermittently, check for updates to ensure you are well informed. Most know that some travel restrictions have been implemented. We are also want to ensure that what has been put out for the airlines will also count for the cruise lines and others coming in. And though we have not canceled any public gatherings, we must remain vigilant. We have done an evaluation of the Heineken Regatta, and all the protocols had been followed in terms of safety and hygiene, and we have had no incidents reported as a result thereof. There was also very high vigilance by the Justice Department throughout this period, and they had all received the ministerial decision of the minister in terms of heightened security or enforcing of the existing rules.
And I'm Valerie Van Putten. Just a reminder that this and other programs are available online. Simply log on to stmartinmediacenter.com for viewing. On behalf of SXM Daily News team, we thank you for watching and plan on meeting you back here again on Monday. Enjoy your weekend.